Humanity stood in silence as the Galactic Council chamber echoed with a final verdict. The holographic evidence of the Krelox Empire's brutal attack on the Terran colony of Livia burned in the minds of every human present. The transmission had been unambiguous, an intentional massacre, not collateral damage. And yet, the Council dismissed it with their cold, detached reasoning, unfortunate, but within acceptable parameters during territorial disputes. The human ambassador, face pale and fists clenched, stared at the assembled alien dignitaries. They didn't care. To the Krelox, humanity was an upstart species, barely worth acknowledgement. To the rest of the Council, humans were just another Death World species trying to play at diplomacy, too dangerous to fully trust and too young to respect. The ambassador's voice trembled, not with fear, but with restrained fury. "Is this justice?" he demanded. "Is this what your so-called enlightened galaxy considers fair?" The Krelox representative leaned back in their seat, mandibles clicking in amusement. "Justice is for the strong," they hissed. "Perhaps you should focus on surviving, not complaining." The room filled with murmurs of approval, thinly veiled mockery echoing from the alien delegates. The human delegation said nothing more. They gathered their things and walked out, heads high, but hearts heavy. The news spread across human territories within hours. Livia had been a thriving colony of millions, home to families, scientists, and dreamers who had braved the frontier. Now it was a lifeless wasteland. Images of charred cities and mass graves circulated on every human network. The faces of children, their laughter now silenced, became a rallying cry. The galaxy had always looked down on humans, seeing their adaptability and ferocity as something to be contained. For decades, humanity had endured exploitation under the guise of trade agreements, biased council rulings, and territorial disputes that left them cornered. They had bent, compromised, and restrained their primal instincts in the name of peace. But this was a step too far. On Earth, the United Terran Coalition convened in an emergency session. The broadcast was simple and direct. To all humans across the galaxy, remember this day. Remember Livia. For too long, we have played by their rules, believing in their justice. Today, we declare this. No more mercy, no more games. We will no longer beg for fairness or acceptance. To those who wronged us, prepare yourselves. There will be no negotiation. Only retribution. The alien species watching from their comparable worlds dismissed it as a desperate outburst. The Krelox, in particular, were unconcerned. "Humans talk," one of their generals sneered. "They bark, but they do not bite." Their confidence blinded them to the storm building on the edges of the galaxy. But within human space, there was no bravado. Only quiet, focused rage. Factories began churning out weapons of war. Communications networks buzzed with encrypted messages. Soldiers volunteered in record numbers, their faces grim with determination. The galaxy had miscalculated. Humanity wasn't barking. They were sharpening their teeth. The Krelox Empire fell swiftly under the weight of humanity's precision strikes. Their fleets, once vast and seemingly invincible, were fragmented into isolated pockets of resistance. Human warships, sleek and efficient, tore through their ranks with relentless efficiency. Each engagement was brutal, but controlled. No unnecessary destruction, no indiscriminate slaughter. Human commanders operated as a single, cohesive unit, their AI systems predicting enemy maneuvers moments before they happened. Fleets moved in waves, cutting off Krelox supply chains and overwhelming their military strongholds. The Krelox generals, once proud and confident, now whispered amongst themselves of the sheer ferocity and precision of their human foes. Every Krelox ship that fell was met with stoic silence from the human fleet. There was no celebration, no victory dances. They knew this wasn't a game. This was war, and the cost was staggering. Still, humanity endured, knowing their cause was just. Every life lost on both sides was weighed carefully, even when the odds were stacked against them. Human ground forces were just as effective. Planetary invasions were swift, surgical. Exosuited soldiers moved in silent precision, eliminating military targets while preserving civilian lives. Entire cities would be captured, cleansed of hostile forces, and then returned to their people. The contrast between human conduct and that of the Krelox was stark, a reminder that humanity was not driven by conquest, but justice. The other species, watching from the sidelines, could only observe in awe. Some feared retribution might come for them next. Others, who had faced humanity's wrath in more minor conflicts, knew the galaxy had underestimated them once again. Human leadership didn't seek domination. They sought survival, and in their quest for survival, they wielded unparalleled strength. Yet, the Krelox were not easily broken. Their resilience stemmed from centuries of conquest, their unyielding nature born of domination. They continued to fight, their fleets rallying at remote outposts, coordinating desperate counterattacks. But humanity anticipated each move, adapting their strategies with surgical precision. Human intelligence networks spanned across Krelox space, gathering data faster than the Krelox could respond. Hacked communications broadcasted messages of defiance, warnings of what was to come, visions of humanity's unstoppable march. Every Krelox soldier knew that to resist was futile, that death awaited them at the hands of a species they once dismissed as weak. The Krelox Empire, once a symbol of dominance, began crumbling from within. Morale shattered as entire fleets surrendered, their crews surrendering to the inevitability of defeat. The Empire's leadership, desperate to cling to power, issued calls for desperate alliances with other species, but no one dared offer aid. They feared humanity's retribution more than the fall of the Empire. In the end, humanity's might was not born of brute strength alone. It was forged through a singular purpose: justice. And with every step forward, they reminded the galaxy that when pushed too far, humans did not break. They evolved. They fought. And they won.